Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. Thanks for joining me and Joe Garcia, which you'll see him later on in this episode. We have a really good 100th episode. We're going to be talking about the EV, electric vehicle, why it's important today, especially since Tesla is making 100,000 cars for Hertz. What's that going to do for you? How's that going to help your business? And why it's important to get electric vehicle certified, not just from Tesla. We're going to talk with Don Kavanaugh. He is having a dream event November 13th, and he's having it for free. Him and Dave Strain. You're going to hear why he's going to be doing that. And we're going to talk about customer reviews, how to handle those. I get a bad 1-star review. You're going to hear why. And last but not least, we are going to do a PDR repair reaction video with Brice Kelly. Joe and I break down Brice Kelly's repair, but he's not in the video. Actually, he's not here with us interview. We wanted to get him on here, but we didn't have a chance to contact him. I did message him. I said, hey, we did a PDR reaction video. He was looking forward to it. And I think you're going to like it as well. I'm sure you might have seen it, but we're going to give you our reaction in real time about how it went. So I hope you guys stay tuned for this podcast. It's going to be a long one. And if you are wanting to go to skip the different parts, I put the different segments in there, the timing, especially if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on a podcast, you can just skip to the parts that you'd like. All right, let's get cracking. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Now we got the all-star team here from the IMI EV certification. And you might have heard me talk about this a little bit ago on a couple podcasts about the importance of certification in the electric vehicle, especially when you're working on Teslas. I want to talk about this subject is now more than ever, the importance of getting certified with IMI. Tesla just made a deal with Hertz to sell 100,000 cars to them here in the United States market for the rental cars. So what's that going to do for your business? You know, all these people that are going to start renting these cars, denting them, they're going to need dents fixed. Now you're going to see them even more often. And that means that you're going to have to know your stuff. We're going to go over a little bit of the importance of that, the safety. That's why I brought in Kevin Andrews and Vince D'Alessandro, aka Cowboy Vinny. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff and what you need to do to prepare to market towards that certification, promoting it, and on your website. So welcome, Kevin. Welcome, Vinny. How you guys doing?
Howdy.
Go first.
Yeah, doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. You guys, I'm finally the early bird here because I'm on the West Coast. Kevin, it's about 3-something in the afternoon over there.
Yeah. So,
over the pond, you say, right?
Over the pond, yeah.
Or is it over the pond to us? Are we allowed to say over the pond to you, or is it more over the pond from you to us?
Well, either way, either or. Potato.
Yeah, right. So what's going on, man? So can you guys elaborate on this? How is since COVID, it slowed that down a little bit, you know, getting certified. Are things starting to pick up now? And can you guys elaborate, like, you know, what's going on today? Anything different besides taking the course now since then? Now, is there any updates on that too, by the way?
Go on, Vince, you go first, mate.
Okay. Well, I think that we've spent the last year in a little bit of a transition for the classes. I did have a couple classes throughout the year. They were not advertised as much, mainly because we didn't want a lot of people in a small area together, and with COVID going on. But we did have about 3 classes throughout the last year. I do have another one coming up in Georgia next weekend, and then we're starting to kick it up again. A lot of things have opened up. I know Kevin over in England has had some classes as well. And I think we've spent the last year kind of regrouping and making sure that Kevin has done a wonderful job updating the booklet and the program a little bit to make it a little bit more current, because it is moving at a very fast pace at this point. There's a lot of new cars out on the market, and a lot of them are electric or hybrid.
Yeah, that's right. Because what am I saying? I'm kind of saying Tesla, 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 right? But I mean, it's probably the forefront of the electric vehicles, the most popular as of now. But almost all the car manufacturers are starting to put their focus on electric vehicle, and so that's where IMI steps in to know your stuff. Kevin, is there anything different that's going to be, that might change the course or an update for the IMIs as these cars evolve and get more electric?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be. I mean, battery technology as it changes will affect what we do. I mean, when we went from nickel metal hydride packs to lithium packs, our cell voltage jumped up 3 times, and the whole industry is trying to make more voltage smaller, because of weight and size, etc. That's always been the downside, is getting that weight down, making sure that it can accept a faster rate charge. And we look at some of the newer vehicles now, we're getting up to 100 to 150 amp chargers, which is phenomenal, really, considering where we were just a few years back. So the the thing is with this, it's all the levels are just going up and up and up and up and up, which means the danger sort of follows that.
Yeah.
Your kind of exposure to the danger remains the same, but the levels you're dealing with is rising at quite a significant rate. So yes, it will impact what we're doing. We've just got to work on these vehicles in a safe and just a well planned manner. Having
Yeah.
having that knowledge is well, it saves your life. There's nothing else to say really. It's going to save your life, and also just dealing around these high voltage components. Obviously, they have very, very complex electronics that monitor all of this. So we need to make sure that whatever we're going to do isn't going to upset any of those. We've all had it in hail where we've unplugged something, and next minute you've got a module has gone out, and it's a £300-400 or dollars to replace. We're looking at $6, $7, $8, $10,000 components now. We just have to be mindful and aware of what we're working on. Mild hybrid has just boomed now. That sector has really grown. 90% of people probably don't even know they're driving a mild hybrid, let alone working on one. So we just need to have eyes open, keep up to date with the latest tech. The whole COVID thing has made things difficult because we've just, as an industry, we've just sort of stalled. We haven't had that communication, and I think when we're around like-minded people, we are more inclined to go and research things a bit deeper, because we're going to have questions thrown at us. So, myself and Vince have been sort of talking and trying to make sure that everything is current that we're offering. But biggest thing I would say for us is the course that was written. I initially wrote, and then obviously myself and Vince have worked on it to tweak it. It is dedicated towards the PDR and sort of smart repair industry. So that is, that's the number one. Everything else is written for mechanical or body shop. Yeah. We've filled that gap in the middle, and that's the number one thing in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah, I think it's important in some simpler terms just to say, we all seen commercials about how, or radio talk or whatever, internet ads about the distance that these cars are getting now. They're getting up into the 300-mile range for ranges and things like that. Well, that means that battery is now more powerful than ever. Yeah. And that's kind of the simpler way of saying it. And we have to make those precautions while we're working on them. We work with sharp tools. We work with tools that can penetrate, insulation on wires. We could rub against, a wire working on a fender and not even know it. And next thing you know, you have an arc blast or an arc flash, and your life is over, or you're sent to the ER, or even simpler, you're damaging, like Kevin said, damaging components on a car that are not $20, $30, 100 pounds. it's now thousands of dollars in damage, thousands of pounds in damage.
That's
So
right.
it's crucial that you know the threshold and know what you're working on, and the
a lot of techs want to make their manufactured access points underneath the rear quarter panel wheel. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Instead of taking things off. How dangerous is that, Kevin? I mean, like
It's
on the power, like, and they don't like. We're talking a tech that has no training, has probably not been out. They haven't been in the real world yet a lot. They're not on the forums. They don't know about anything about IMI. These guys are getting trained by these, school mills, and they're going to go drill a hole underneath the quarter panel of a Tesla on the power port side. That is playing that you.
That's it. You just don't know what is behind any of those panels. I mean, take the high voltage side away from it. There's places you or I know that if you drilled a hole, is it going to make a big impact? Probably not. But there's going to be places, structural places, that is going to have an impact. Structural places is going to be where that these cables are going to be placed, because it's the most solid part of the car. And yeah, you've got to be so mindful of where these, even, you're saying about going into a wheel well, what do we need to do in order to even, let's say there's already a pre-drilled grommet in the wheel well, on a Audi or a Porsche or something like that we're going to run access through. We're going to need to jack the car up. We put you call it a jack, don't you, in the States?
Yeah.
Fine. We put the jack under there. We jack the car up. What are we jacking up on? There's the power cables run under the vehicle. The battery, in a lot of cases, especially on Tesla, is the underside of the vehicle. And on Tesla, you have a special jacking block. So just by putting a jack under there and cranking the car up, and these things are heavy. You're 2 ton plus. So there's a lot of weight sitting on a. If you've got a jack with a cup on it, the point load is going to be enough to, damage that underside, and you could be compressing battery cells. So just a simple thing like jacking the car up.
It's like a woman's heel, right? Like kind of like a steel stiletto going right in there.
Yeah, you got to. That's the thing. Point load. There's lithium pouch packs now, batteries. The Kia. Oh, hang on a minute. Kia Niro.
Yeah, Niro.
Lift up the rear seats, and the battery that sits under the rear seats is a lithium pouch battery, and you'll see a big footprint on the top of the battery casing with a cross through it. That means you can't compress that pouch. They're made to be sort of bendable, so they can fit into more space. Basically, they take up less space. But obviously, if you compress that, if you've got the seat out, and let's say you're doing an R&I, removing a headlining or something, and you go and sit on the back seat, you could compress that battery pouch and deactivate the battery.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to this that doesn't meet the eye, and the fact that all this stuff is tucked away, when we start stripping and R&I-ing cars, that's when we're going to be exposed to the most amount of danger.
Sure. And I think we have a video queued up, Mike, that in this video that we have, it's an instructor at a fire station showing them what happens during an arc blast or an arc flash. And this technician is showing, he's got his gloves here. We're not going to go into grave detail, but he puts a hot dog on here, right, to simulate a finger. And then he puts the glove over the finger. And this is, wearing proper gloves, and he hits it here with electricity, and there's nothing happens, right? And then he comes over here and finds a small little pin and pinpricks the finger where the sausage or the hot dog is, right? And then he goes back to it. This is a tiny little air gap, and boom, right? Just like that. Now, if you're in that room, it's extremely loud, extremely loud. It's like a firecracker going off.
And he's pulling it away. Like, what happens if it touches you? You're on it, right?
Oh yeah,
that fire ain't going out like that.
No, you're talking DC voltage. You're stuck on it.
Yeah, no,
You know,
thank you, man.
some of the numbers that we were talking about before we went on the air is, a Tesla Model S is 375 volts, a Model 3 is 350. But check this out: while it's being charged, it sends 715 amps to that battery. 715 amps to charge that battery. So, and Mike, you took the class. What is the minimum amperage to
Oh
charge
God,
yourself?
dude. Don't put me on the spot.
I think Kevin knows. Kevin,
Dangerous. That's what that-
remind the man.
50 milliamps.
50 milliamps, 0.50 amps. And they have 715 amps going to that battery while it's charged.
Yeah.
So if anything, if you guys do not take this class, that's entirely up to you. But please promise the three of us now that you will at least stay away from orange cables, and you will at least stop and think about not working on a car that's plugged in while it's charging. And seek out someone that might be certified to power down the car if you're in an area that requires it. If you're working on a door, you don't have to power down a car. If you're working on the roof, you're not going to be in contact with orange cables or wiring and things like that. But once you come into those areas, that's when you have to strongly consider powering down a vehicle.
What I'd just say there as well is what we're saying then about the 375 volts for the Model S battery. That's for the 85 battery, but that's just the DC voltage. So that's what the battery is actually holding itself. When that goes through the inverter converter and gets transformed into three-phase AC, that voltage is going to go up, at least double.
Yeah.
So we operate up to the 1,000-volt threshold. So, you could potentially have 1,000 volts of AC electricity there with that level of amperage you see the size of the cables. They're not, little 8 amp cables. These things are thick. What I would honestly, for anyone out there that is unsure, see if you can find someone with a Tesla that has supercharging, plug that thing into a supercharger and sit in the car and just listen. Just literally, when you hear how that power is managed going into the vehicle, it's unnerving. We had a Model 3. I plugged one in, and I got to say, I got out of the car. I thought, no, that's catching fire. I'm in the Starbucks watching it.
I got a question for you guys, and any of you guys can answer this. I had a customer, and I was actually having a hard time convincing her that. And this is one reason why when I wasn't done with my site yet, but she had a small ding. She kept saying, "Oh, it's a small ding," and we all know when customers describe to tell you what a small dent looks like without showing us. It's a small dent. It's, and she didn't tell me what kind of vehicle it was yet. And then I started asking her, and I said, "Well, listen, man, I need some pictures, but what kind of vehicle is it?" "It's a Tesla Model 3. "All right, where's the dent located on the vehicle?" "Oh, it's on the back above the driver's side, wheel." And I was like, "Ma'am, there's two options. We can glue pull it, or we have to power down the vehicle if we have to get a tool on it. That's just mandatory, and you have to come to the shop. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it." And I explained the whole thing to her, but she seemed like I was trying to shall I say, convince her. You know what I mean? Scare her in that way. Kevin, you deal with it a lot. You don't deal with it as much now, Vinny. You're kind of semi-retired, I would call it. But
no, but we have retired. We have discussions on this. I do have my own.
Good. That's good. That's why I'm
Kevin.
helping answer, because like some of us need help convincing customers quickly, swiftly, to help them understand.
I'll give you the psychological evaluation that I have on that, and then Kevin will probably give you the more analytical one. But there's a difference, what I found, between Tesla Model 3 owners and Model S owners. A Model S owner is passionate about that car, and they know the ins and outs about it. If you give them a bill for $5,000, they might think about it, but they'll probably do it because they know that it's a complex piece of machinery. A Model 3 owner is that's a commuter car to them.
The Honda Civic.
Exactly. They do not see it as, a modern marvel of technology. They see it as a cheap electric car, which, is a little bit, mid-grade and a little bit fancy. So that's my opinion, that you'll find, it's more of a psychological thing, I think. But,
yeah, I think as these cars become more mainstream, the people that were early adopters because they were
They can afford it.
Whole, everything that goes with it. They're so into it. Whereas now, they've become more available to the masses. All of a sudden, it's, well, I can buy a, like you just said, a Honda Civic, or I can buy this Model 3 or a Kia Niro, whatever it might be. So yeah, it does present its own issues, and I think a lot of people buy those vehicles with the, it's going to cost me less to run. It's going to, it's all about cost. I mean, over here we have, tax breaks on it. We can drive them. In London now is pretty much a emission-free zone now. You've struggled to. I think you have to pay a minimum of £12, so $17 per day, to drive an internal combustion engine vehicle in there, minimum.
In London?
Wow.
And that spreads all the way out to the outskirts of London. Used to be just the centre of London. Now it's moved further out. By 2030, they want internal combustion engine vehicles banned in most city centres. So we're pushing that way. The issue we've got now is convincing these people that we're not just trying to pull the wool over their eyes, and it's our safety that's at stake. And I'm sorry, if they want to go and get something cheaper, there's always going to be someone out there that will do it and will cut corners. We see it day in, day out. But if it comes into my shop, it gets done my way.
Yeah. And it's amazing, Mike. It really is. And you have a shop, Mike, as well. And you get to dictate what you charge and what safety precautions you take. There's people that they don't even there's technicians that don't even see the value in doing pre and post scans. And we're talking about the safety aspect of it, but this is also a money making thing. And like Mike, you came up with your own website specifically targeting electric vehicles and Teslas because
Yeah. Before we get into, I want to touch base what you just said though, because about the post scanning, we're coming into an age where now things have changed, and including obviously electric vehicles. That's why I brought you guys on the show, because it's more relevant and important as of now than any part than we've been doing. And we've been conditioned because we've been working with these other types of vehicles. We didn't have to freaking check the codes or worry about codes flipping on and off. And now you've got these variables now, when you work on a vehicle, anything can happen, and I think it's about being aware and being more safety driven onto that. And then obviously marketing towards that, it's one thing, just like this, Kevin, and your certification wouldn't matter if you didn't really use it and put it to use. I'm not saying it doesn't matter as far as the safety, 100%, but listen, this is a leverage. This is leverage to help to market to the consumer and say, look, what do you think? Like, I made a website, and I definitely, if you look at this page, it's focused on my reputation, and it's focused on what's involved in the repair of a Tesla. Okay. I'm IMI certified. Anytime you're dealing with electricity, you need a certified expert. Anything less simply isn't safe. We have been specifically trained to power down any Tesla when working near power cables, ports, and electrical circuits. I mean, we have to really market this way and know that we care about it. If you guys don't, right? How is the customer going to know? It's all about education, and obviously knowing how to do the dents, and then educating the customer. Hey, look, you've got some bracing, around the vehicle in this section, or better yet, I'm working on a little video right now talking about the specifics of the bracing as well. Kevin, you'll probably be more proud of me on this, Stu, but I actually send customers little video clips, something like this, or a diagram that highlights, where their location's at or where the danger area is going to be if we have to power down the vehicle. So this makes me more exciting. I show the vehicle like, oh, your dent's going to be right in this section, or we've got to pull the panels on this area. So
I said people aren't aware of it to a lot of people, a car is a fridge freezer. It's a white good.
Yeah.
It's something they get in to drive to wherever, that they may not care about it, or may not know too much of what goes on the backside of that panel. And it's up to us, we're the educators, we're the professionals, we're the people that know. And it's like everything. If we spend the time to do that education, then we give the customer the information. If they decide that they still want to go ahead and they're looking for a cheaper dollar price, then they're not my customer.
And it might be an insurance adjuster that you're having to explain this to as well, gentlemen and ladies out there. I mean,
I'm not trying to put you guys on a spot or anything, but I think, if you guys could come up with possibly, and maybe I'll be doing it myself, but having some material that somebody could like put on their website and create an IMI certification page for their website, some material that would help them market that way.
I think that's a perfect thing for Mike Toledo and Dent Trainer.
Thank you. I knew you'd flip that back on me.
Sounds like a Dent Trainer thing.
Yeah, it does sound like a Dent Trainer thing, doesn't it? Kevin will help me out. So, but the Tesla, like for instance, I'm thinking more, man, this shouldn't be just geared towards Tesla. It's just electric vehicles in particular, So it just happens to be Tesla people spend money.
A thing over here where we have an Electricity at Work Act, which is part of the health and safety executives, are very similar to your OSHA, and they state that any high voltage vehicle falls under the Electricity at Work Act. Now, I cannot come into to the unit and replace a plug socket on the wall because I'm not certified to do that. Yes, I can do it, but I'm not allowed to do it because I don't have hold the relevant qualification, which is called a Part P over here. Now, the high voltage vehicles now fall into that category. So if someone drives a vehicle into Kiko here in the UK and Colin repairs a dent on it, ultimately I hold the responsibility. So it's up to me as the shop owner to hold a sort of process that says, right, Colin, you must notify me, you must put it in the correct area, it must be powered down. I hold that, because if Colin doesn't do that and someone gets hurt, it's me that goes straight to the courts. So from that sense, it's a very, very easy conversation for us to have. If you want it done here, this is what it's going to have to be. If you don't want it done here, or you don't want to do that, there is no cutting corners. There is no, I could drop down the side of the window with a laminated glass and it may break, or I could pop a hole in the side of it, or I could remove the door card. All three of those will suffice in some cases. On high voltage vehicles, that's just not good enough, because we get one chance.
Yeah.
That's the thing. One chance and one chance only. And I'm not a particularly I'm a very risk averse person anyway. And that risk the odds are just stacked too high for my liking.
Yeah, when people start getting injured by sticking tools in there, I mean, it's really going to make a difference. It's already happened. We just haven't heard about it just yet. It hasn't gone mainstream, but there are people that have been injured by high voltage vehicles.
Yeah. Well, I saw your display name up here, and I don't mean to change subjects here, but Kevin, I just want to say congratulations to you and and Mr. Kiko himself out there, that I heard you guys won best new product at SEMA just recently.
Yes, just about an hour ago. So it's all a little bit.
You heard it first here on Dent Time.
Hope you weren't watching Facebook. No, it's incredible, absolutely incredible, and I'm stoked. I'm really annoyed because I was supposed to be there, but we can't fly until the 8th of November when it's over. So yeah, gutted to not be there, but yeah, it's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Wow, yeah, congratulations, Jack. And having you on board is just obviously going to take it to another level as well, Kevin. I know you don't do anything half-assed, excuse my French, but you know,
I don't think that was French. Kevin, you're close to France. That wasn't French,
yeah.
was
it?
Ass.
Well,
Sorry.
you stop interrupting me, man. This old cowboy Vinny, man. I'm trying to give Kevin some props here, man. Shoot.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Kevin, man. I like I said, how's it been since you guys did the merge? I'm not sure even if some of our viewers even knew. So why don't you elaborate? Do you mind elaborating a little bit on that?
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, April the 30th, TDN group demerged. So we split into TDN Tools and Training and Axiom being the body shops. So Jordan and Tony are deep into that. So it's, you know, anyone that's involved in body shops know it needs 150% of your your attention and time, and it was just a natural progression. Kiko and Chris White, you know, they've always, you know, we've always worked hand in hand, and yeah, we joined forces. There was a buyout there, and yeah, we became Kiko UK. So you know, we're pushing the GPR side of things, which is, you know, falls hand in hand with what we're talking about today with electric vehicles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been 6 months. It's been you know, we're in a brand new site. So it's been 6 months of getting all of that organized, as well as training and everything else that goes with it. But no, we're having good fun, and there's great things happening. So
obviously it's going in the right direction quick, so and faster. But I just want to say, Kevin, thanks a lot, man, and Vinny, thanks for being an ambassador to this whole thing. You guys as a team are help changing this industry for good and educating everybody in a positive direction. So I want to say thank both of you guys for coming on, and best of luck.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mike.
You guys got it. Thanks. Take a look at Kevin. What website you got going on now, Kevin? Where can they find you at?
We're still under the TDN Tools or TDN PDR training websites, but if you put in the Kiko UK, it will redirect you to those sites.
Okay.
So,
I'll put a link down here as well in the description on the podcast and all that good stuff. So, Vinny, we know to find you, man, at AnsonPDR.com, right?
Yep, AnsonPDR.com, or go to the training tab, and you'll see all sorts of stuff there for classes and why you would want to take this class as well. And there's some breakdowns and good stuff. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, fellas. Thanks for coming on, and we'll catch you guys later. Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
See you. Take care.
All right. What's going on? Now we've got our I guess this would be considered one. Well, Joe's not considered a guest anymore. He is a co-host, but he's not here to join us with this one. But Don, you're technically our third guest on this episode. This is episode 100, by the way. Yeah.
Very cool.
It took me a while because I only do podcasts every 2 weeks, but yeah, congratulations for being on the 100th podcast.
I love it. I feel kind of special. I love it. I love it.
Don Cav, dude, you and I have been friends for quite a while. I mean, I wouldn't say, not a huge amount, but let's just put it this way. We've been in the business for quite a long time. You and I pretty much the same time frame. All right. What year did you get into PDR?
89. And just like, it seems like yesterday. And then I finally got super, super serious and got it incorporated in 91. I think you were 91 incorporated. So started pushing to make money in 89, but I got serious in 91 with someone scaring me saying, "You better make it an LLC. They can take everything you made." And I'm like, "Oh shit," you know.
Well, you have an awesome shop in Minnesota. What part of Minnesota are you in?
We're in a town called Wayzata. It's all Indian names around here, so it's Wayzata, Minnesota. We're on Lake Minnetonka,
Uh-huh.
just a couple of miles from us. People usually when I meet someone and I'm from Minnesota, Lake Minnetonka, you know, because you know it's just yeah, that's it, you know. So that's our claim to fame around here.
Well, cool. So you guys, you and Dave Stream, last year created this event called The Dream, and it was a virtual event that hosted a bunch of tool companies, speakers, and whatnot. People could go into this event and basically kind of find themselves around and get tool discounts and check out what the tools were about, and then see different speakers, almost like almost a virtual. I would consider it a mobile tech expo in a way, but not really, just a little bit
Just a
different.
little
But
bit, yeah,
can
yeah.
you explain that what this is about, and what you're doing on this dream?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The reason we really wanted to do this, we kind of came up with it, was the idea that most people can't, you know, take that time off to go to fly somewhere or whatever. You know, yeah, we get, you know, 4 or 5 thousand people down there, and it's really the funnest thing, and it doesn't have any, you know, any bearing on that because there's nothing more than great high fives and all those wonderful things and the hugs and you know, sometimes it's what's caught not taught, and when you're there talking to someone at the bar at night or whatever. So this has nothing to do with that, but we just wanted to bring education day has always been so special to me. I've spoken in those rooms, and I've been involved with that and involved with you and you know, traveling the world. I mean, we've gone up to Canada together. We've done seminars at the, you know, your show and different stuff. And I'm just honored to be in that arena. And I just love, you know, helping guys out. And my bottom line is I want everybody to lift themselves up. And with these guys coming on, as well as yourself, and speaking and telling some stories and telling people, you know, hey, if I had this when I started, I would have been so much faster. We got guys last year from a 2 or 5 year level to a 10-year level, just in how to talk to people, how to close deals, how to, you know, land a shop, you know, basically how to deal with insurance companies, how to, you know, there was so many different avenues on learning that I had 6 or 7 people that I listened to, Matt Moore and Paul Corden and a couple other guys that I just was blown away and that I didn't know because I've been in for 32 years. So I think when you think to yourself, to the last day you'll learn another thing. So I just love the fact that we can go in and just keep yourself open and just learn from one another, and all the knowledge that was sent was just amazing. And we had like 88 people come back to us and filled out these surveys that we had sent, and we're just like our lives are changed. Our, you know, we're
Well,
doing this, we're doing that. So it was fun.
what is this? What is this about? And like, what are you guys doing differently this time?
So last time it was we got this platform, and it was basically last time was kind of fun. It was more interactive. Basically, you were able to listen to the speeches and then ask some questions. We had different rooms that we found out this platform just wasn't handling it as well as we thought it would. So we decided to change it up this year. Last year it was fun. Guys that had gone last year, we had 525 people, and this year we were having around 1,100 or so or plus. And we started realizing really quickly, talking to Matt at Get a Grip, he's really a smart guy when it comes to computers. And he said, Don, it just wasn't working. We were getting dropped out because we had all these rooms. Like if you want to go talk hail or talk retail or talk all these things. So we kind of panicked and thought, let's do something amazing. Let's give it to everybody for absolutely free. So we gave all our money back to all the vendors. We gave money back to all of the people that came on board and bought tickets already. And we said, we're going to make it a free show. We're going to make it live forever. And we are going to go back to the drawing board, and we'll just find a different platform or something. We don't really know. There's a lot up in the air. But this year, right now, you guys can go to dentrepair.com and get in for free. You can watch 20 plus speakers from last year. This is not a 30-day show now anymore. Everybody was hung up on that day, but really what it was all about last year too is you had 30 days to take it all in. Now you have forever, you know, and you're going to be able to go in there, listen to these speeches. It's going to live forever. And please watch these things 2 and 3 times. It's like when you watch a movie. I believe that when I watch it a second and third time, I come around with even more. I'm like, oh my God, I missed that, right? So these guys are spilling their guts. We challenge every single person to come up with an idea where they could, at least a minimum of $10,000 idea that someone could apply after listening to the speech immediately to lift their business up, to start getting us all on the same page. And I think that's the whole premise behind this. I felt like none of us are on the same page. And we thought if we could do that and get some kind of, where we could reach around the world, this might be a super cool thing for all of us to start talking the same language.
So when is this, and what's the website that they can go to check this out?
So dentrepair.com. Super simple. You can go on there today and start watching. We were going to have this live event November 13th, but we've changed that up. It's available right now. We'll have all the other speakers on board by the 13th and throughout maybe even into November a little bit. But you got a lot of homework to do before you even start to get to the next videos. But those will all be downloaded within the next few weeks as well. So.
And the date one more time, because people forget.
So there really isn't a date, guys. So now that date is thrown and flushed down the toilet. It was November 13th, but we're not doing that now. It's available today, right this minute. When you guys hear this, go to dentrepair.com and click on see videos up on top. And just make sure when they load, you'll see all the thumbnails of everything that it's all spelled out really well for you. And then we'll be adding the other 20 throughout November here.
Cool. So how do because I was asked to do it. So I have a video, so how do you get that? How does maybe somebody like myself wants to participate or do a 15-minute speech or whatever it is. How do they get involved?
Why don't they, if someone's got something great to say, and I know there's a ton of guys out there that do, and we appreciate everyone. If you wanted to do that, why don't you reach out to me, Don at dentrepair.com, Don@dentrepair.com. And, let me know what you guys are thinking. And we're so open to anybody that wants to help our industry that has been so kind and given so much to us. We just need to give back, and we just need to get people on the same page. And it really kills us when someone's charging $80 and the next guy's charging $100 and the next guy's charging $150. And then our client happens to go and get 3 estimates and be all over the board. It makes it really tough for us to look like we're an industry that's really got any kind of a unity to it, and it makes us look terrible. It looks like it just makes us, I just love the camaraderie of talking and getting like Mobile Tech RX and getting on the same page and 150, 450. That's where it starts, and we that's just amazing. When the next guy goes, $20, $50, $80, it's tough. It's really tough, but it's good on those guys too, because then they don't have to do one more dent. I always have these, and because of you, Mike, thank you very much. I started doing these tech meetups, and it's so fun to get everybody in the room to talk about these things. And people just don't understand that $80 isn't $80. Uncle Sam's going to take 30, right? How'd you get that customer? AdWords, a Facebook ad. I mean, you put some money in there, right? Hey, you got insurance on your business? Well, yeah, you do. Hey, you got business cards? You got an accountant? Yeah. Did you drive a half hour both ways? You're maybe netting about $10.
It costs money to run a legit business, for sure. 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. It ain't free.
We overlook it. No, it ain't free. No, nothing.
Yeah. If I'm going to do a cost breakdown to really open people's eyes about if you really are running your business legitly, and Mary's going to help me because she's the accountant of the, it's expensive, man. I mean,
it is.
If you're under $100 for a door dent, you're at minus. You're in the hole.
You are.
I mean, at least for me. Money. For me, yeah. I mean, you're talking health insurance. And we're talking livelihood. You know what I mean? Not just running the business, but your livelihood. If you got kids, you got to pay for the schooling. And we can go on and on about that. That's a whole different subject. But
all these hidden prices.
Real quick, it enlightens people. Right. Gives them kind of another spark and whatnot. But yeah, so cool, Don. That's a great thing. I hope you guys do Well, I hope people take advantage of that. So you can go to
Yeah, I
Dent
do
Repair,
too.
right?
Yep.
DentRepair.com,
DentRepair.com. Yeah.
and it's free.
What's and it's free. It's absolutely free, and it's going to be there. Please go on there and love it up. I mean, we're not even asking people's information. We're not. There's no bait and switch here. We just want you guys to really be able to improve yourself and lift yourselves up. What's really fun is like the UK and like Russia. We'll go with Russia first. Good friends with Olga and Vitaly, and I do a bunch of stuff with Glexo, and they're just great peeps. And they're saying, guys, they technicians make maybe $600 to $1,000 a month over here. It's different. They couldn't afford a show like this. So it just feels so good in the heart to be able to give it to all those awesome techs over there that they can help themselves and lift themselves up and learn from all of us. And same thing with the UK. They don't get the money we do here. I was talking to Ben Ridley, and he was saying, yeah, we just don't get to charge what you guys do in America. So we're all pretty blessed over here, I think. So
Yeah. Well, listen, we're all blessed to be even in the business. So let's look at it that way, right? We get to do stuff we love, and we get to profit from it. So that's what else can you ask? But Don, I just want to say thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming on here and making that announcement, and best of luck to you guys at the show. And I'll see you guys inside there too as well. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good, guys. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you having us on.
You got it, dude. All right. What is crack-a-lackin'? The podcast, Joe. Do you know this podcast is podcast 100?
Wow, man.
We hit 100.
Right. Yeah, milestone.
Yeah, and we don't jump on a podcast every week. It's hard work to do every week, and come up with content and quality stuff. So I just want to say, and Joe and I both want to say, thank you guys for watching, paying attention, commenting, letting us know if you like the show, or what you like different and whatnot. We like the feedback. So thank you very much for hanging in here. So Joe, you kind of came up with some good topics, man. So what are we going to talk about on this podcast, man?
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations on your Mr. Toledo, and thanks for having me on here, and thank you to your listeners for listening to us and allowing me to share my point of view on things. So you had asked me about just some subjects that maybe might be interesting, and so I've got a nice little mixed bag of soft skills and business, stuff that I think a lot of people, who run a PDR business may want to know about, and may have the same issues that you and I have. And then we've got a couple of technical subjects to talk about, including some tools that I'm starting to warm up to and learn how to use, the Stanliner tools, and then a couple other subjects as well on the technical level.
Yeah, because we're gonna show. You brought it up. You said, "Hey, I was gonna buy a Stanliner tool. I bought it, came in, and ironically, Brice Kelly does this smash has one of the tools that you bought. So right, so
man.
we're gonna take a peek at it and see how he did it, and you and I will commentate on it and kind of share it with the rest of the world and our listeners and viewers.
Right.
Don't forget, you guys can watch this podcast if you have Apple Podcasts. You can watch it right there. You can watch it on YouTube, and you can definitely go to the Dent Time page, watch it there, or go to denttimepdr.com and check it out there. By the way, Spotify is going to start having video, even though Joe Rogan's on there, but they're going to have it for all the podcasters now sometime in the future. So soon enough, a lot of people are Spodcast or Spotify people, and they want to watch it there too. But meanwhile, didn't mean to go off subject here. We're also going to talk about some bad reviews, right? Like, how do you handle bad reviews? We all want to say, go kick sand. Like I did a couple of weeks ago. We'll share our thoughts on that one.
You got a bad review?
I got a bad review, man.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that.
Got a bad review. It's a good story.
Man.
Good story. It's a good story. And then keeping it clean, right? You said the repair, do we start the repair aggressively or slow or methodically? Is slower really better? Like you said, right, Joe? You're saying that. And,
Yeah.
we were going to bring a guest on, but it didn't work out. So Joe and I are going to friggin' handle it. So we're going to see, we'll give our thoughts based on what we've experienced, and no knocking anybody. We're not, this ain't going to be about knocking people. We're just talking about styles. And
Oh, yeah.
because I've seen the best of the best have both styles, and the work still comes out great. So,
If we're gonna
what
be
do you want to
knocking
start with,
anybody, it's
dude?
ourselves, right?
What do we want to start with, man?
Well, why don't we shoot? Why don't we go with the business side of things, man? Let's address this bad review. I want to hear all about it. But just get
Oh,
the negative stuff out of the way first, huh?
you want to go do bad review? All
Yeah.
right, let's go. Let's go. Let me pull this up, man. Wait, let's let the world see Mike Toledo, Dent Times bad review. All right, you see this one?
Oh yes,
See the 1 star?
I do. I see the
Now,
1 star. I see
I,
the.
I zoomed in because I can see that this lady is a little bit older, and when you listen to her, here, let me set this up before we start reading this thing, dude. Okay, let's set this up here. So as you guys know, I have systems for people. When they send me a photo, I hit them back real quick, and based on the dent, based on my knowledge and my experience, is it aluminum? Is it how big is it? What's the location? You guys know, all right? The veterans know what I'm talking about. You you newbies may not, but anyways, when people contact me, I have a system and a quick way to reply back to them through text message. And I sent this lady a cost of $185 for a small crease in the hood of her aluminum Subaru hood. She didn't like the price. And she claimed that she went to a body shop and they said that they would do it for $75. And I am extorting my customers, and I'm preying on people that that will purchase my services because I'm way too high. So that's the storyline, and we can read that word for word. And she did change some of her story, and she responded after I responded, but she says, I contacted Dent Time franchise with a photo that may not be so accurate for a very small ding, and someone texted me back with a ridiculous rip-off price. In my opinion, they prey on the emotions of prospect customers based on my experience and knowledge of how companies try to profit by fake reviews and customer emotional needs for help. I am very disappointed with this franchise. After I text back that $180 was ridiculous for a small ding, I got an estimate from Tag Collision Center for $75. Now, I'm not going to read a response yet because her response was after I responded to her on this one. I said, Debbie, we don't make up prices in our own head. We have a PDR price guide system, Mobile Tech RX, that is standard nationwide. It takes years and years to understand how to perfect to learn to do what we do. Compared to a body shop, and the one you specified particular hires an outside company who doesn't specialize in retail business like we do. We care about the quality of your vehicle and performing it correctly the first time, as the rest of our 600 plus 5-star reviews customers do. We don't take advantage of anyone, and every person has a right to make a choice if they want to use a service or not. However, it's uncalled for to make a statement that we prey on our customers because you don't understand the value of our service. I don't think I would create a 1-star review to Louis Vuitton if I can't afford my wife a purse. Little jab there.
Yeah.
There's always good enough companies, but that isn't our business model. We love to make our customers happy and not walk away feeling it could have been better. There's a difference a big difference in the value, service, and overall quality between PDR companies, and we feel we offer no exception to that. We actually really do appreciate you giving us a shot, but hopefully now you understand there is definitely a difference. Thank you, Mike Toledo. So before we get back to our response, Joe, what did you think about that response?
I could not have worded that better than better at all, Mike. I mean, I think that was well worded. You kept your cool, which I think is important. And I think Yelp and Google and the review sites, they even recommend, you know, like before you, I know whenever I respond, I notice a little caption comes on. Okay, kind of.
You really want to post this as a public thing?
Yeah, reminding you to cool off and before you write something. And I think it was very well crafted, cool and collected, and you made your point. Hopefully she understood it.
Yeah, and I think she did, because she did respond, but she did another ridiculous response. We'll read a little bit after my rebuttal. I think having reviews like that has definitely matured me in a way. Because I think what really pisses us off is that when people make reviews like that, it pisses us off because we know that's not the truth, and we want to fight to tooth and nail to prove that that is not true.
Sure.
And the other part of the truth of that,
Right.
when we do get a review like that, Joe, is that, well, before I talked about that, do you notice that it is very hard as a PDR company to get a 1-star review just solely on your work? I mean, you have to be a straight up hack to get a 1-star review. The 1 stars or 2-star, I've never gotten a 2-star, but a 1-star or a 3-star or a 4-star, it's generally not about the work. It's something to do with your service or something to do with your price.
Right.
Or you didn't get back, service guy, I guess it's the same thing, but you didn't get back in a timely manner. You know what I mean? There's impatient people. It's usually those type of customers, but it's nothing to do with your service, like your work directly.
Yeah. Right.
And people do read the reviews. So what I'm saying about maturity wise, Joe, is like you said, you kind of have to woo-saw. You cannot reply back to somebody that right away. You have to chew on it. You might have to reply a day later, because I think the most important thing about that 1-star person is there are more people that are going to look at your 1 stars.
Yeah.
But they're also going to look at your response.
Right.
That's how they're going to judge you.
Right.
And if you can make a professional response that is educational, I think you're going to win that battle, even though you got a 1-star review, and it solidifies the rest of your reviews. That's what I've learned.
It's been confirmed, actually, what you're saying. I was listening to a podcast a while back, a business type podcast, and they were talking about reviews, and I don't remember word for word, but what they said, but what they were basically saying is that it gives more credibility to the consumer if you have less than a 5-star average. If you have you have to have, a good amount of reviews, of course. I think there was a certain amount, like, where you're a credible business, and you have enough reviews. But if it's like a 4 point, I think they wound it down to like a specific, like 4.3 or something like that. 4.3 average. That consumers saw that as more credible, like a real business, whereas a 5-star average, especially with a lot of reviews, it made it seem like they bought, like the company bought the reviews. Not saying that that's what everybody thinks, but there's a rule of thumb, I guess, with it. But so it goes with what you're saying. And like you said, people will go straight to reading the 1-star review. That's what I do when I'm searching a company, a service or whatever.
Yeah.
And what I think the real payoff is when you see how the company responds to that 1-star review. And then when you go and look at the 1-star reviewer, the person who left that review, a lot of times a person who drops the 1-star and drops a hammer on you like that, they usually do that to other companies too.
They did.
And you go
you're
back
right.
into the history, and sure enough, you'll see that they've gotten pretty
pattern.
emotional about it. They're just hammering that 1-star
Yeah. Yeah.
button.
But the moral of the story, Joe, is we have to be. You have to think things through, because if I
Yeah.
replied, you know what, lady, you're freaking lying, you know what,
Mhm.
you think I'm a ripoff, and then start pointing fingers at the body shop and saying, just saying, it doesn't help your situation. That's all I'm going to say. It
No,
really
right.
doesn't, because you have to think about acting like a customer who would want to use your service. Hey, I know this lady's a little wacky, but
Mhm.
how did he handle that? How did that customer, that company handle a negative review?
Yeah.
Well, you know
Exactly.
what? That solidifies it. That actually makes sense. You know what I mean? So I try to put myself in a customer's point of view and give
Yeah.
a little tickle to it, because it's true. I mean, nobody's writing bad reviews to Louis Vuitton because they can't afford the purse, dude. They just don't buy it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
anyways,
that was a good little quip there, man. Yeah, I think that you got people that just get super emotional, especially when it comes to pricing, and that's something that we're all going to deal with at some one point or another. I mean, and especially those of us who are asking for more than our competition are. I mean, you're going to induce sticker shock at some point. So we'll talk a little bit about how maybe we can mitigate that, or reduce the uh, potential of that happening in the future. And maybe we'll, if you want to, we can even talk about what led to that, and if you could have changed anything. Not that to say that it was your fault, because this person clearly was not your customer. This was a person who, really was shopping for cheap labor, not for quality premium level, PDR.
yeah.
But what can we do, Mike, to keep those people at bay, to us and our listeners, and who, that's, I think, what a lot of people are afraid of, especially giving prices out. You can answer the phone as much as or respond and be diligent about that. But at the end of the day, if you give a price that's higher than what the person on the other end of the line is comfortable with, and if they're an emotional wreck, and just they barked up the wrong tree, basically, how do we keep that from happening again?
Well, that's the thing, is it, like you said, it's, self-control. And at the end of the day, Joe, you got to just do what you got to do your job, dude, and do it right. And everything, you ain't going to be able to, it's impossible to be able to predict that you're going to deal with a dick.
Yeah.
Does that make sense or not? Or am
Oh,
I just,
absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because, I mean, when you think about it, like when you're working on a car or something, or you're dealing with 10 other things, and the phone rings, or you get somebody sending, text message, or, for a price quote. And once bitten, twice shy. We've all been bitten by that. We've all dealt with that really difficult person, that left their mark on us. And
yeah.
we cringe, or I cringe, when I know I've got other things to do, and I've got this person I need to, you know, correspond with. And I just know, like, and it call it head trash or whatever. And that's really what it is, because I'm going by my emotions at this point. I'm
Yeah.
dealing with my pain from the past, from a long time ago, because I had this bad interaction with some person, and subconsciously it's affecting this new opportunity. So I think that might be the trick, is that we have to realize every single call is an opportunity. And maybe we just look at it as an opportunity to say yes, or an opportunity to say no. But either way, we're serving that person one in a weird way. Like that person who left you the 1-star review, you served her by giving her the information that she asked for. It was out of her price range, and well, she decided to be a dick about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Joe, you know what? At the end of the day, you know, you look it back and you think about it and you're like, yeah, you know what? I was very mature about that. You know,
Yeah.
as you get older, and it's not because I'm 50 years old. It's not, well, that's part of it, but you know, when you run a business, I've been there. I've been the erratic, excuse me, I almost said it, but F you friggin', you know, business owner, you know, even though I knew I was right, but me expressing myself back at them at the same level as they were, I wasn't right. Actually, in a way, it's like you're stooping lower than what they are. And it's hard to do. It's self-control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is self-control. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to happen to you. You've been in the business long enough. It is going to happen to you. I don't care how much of an angel you are. There's always that one customer that, you know, you can be in that same situation as me, like that. But it's how well you're going to control and handle that situation. And hopefully what Joe and I talked about on this, it'll help you as well. So hopefully it never happens to you, but at least be in that mindset that you do not want to reply right away to a bad review. Think about it, and the longer you kind of wait, the better response you'll have, in my opinion.
I agree. I think you turned it into a positive. You know, it was kind of the worst case scenario. Well, I guess so, but like, the 1-star review, it's kind of devastating when you first get it. I got one time, right? And long story short, this person had called me, I guess, a couple times, and I hadn't answered. I'm still small time, one man operation. I'm the guy that answers the phone. But the person wouldn't leave a message, and I just kept letting it go to voicemail. Well, then all of a sudden I see this thing on Yelp, or Yelp notification comes up. You received a 1-star review, and it said, I saw like the beginning of his uh, post or whatever, his comment, and it said, "This is a fake company. They don't ever answer the phone." Blah blah blah, and so I was like, "Oh shit," like, you feel devastated. Your heart starts beating, and you start feeling like cruddy, And well, I was just piled up on calls. That happens to me from time to time, where I just, I've already got a couple other people I need to, return calls to, and this is my own, mess that I create for myself, So I have to take accountability. But I thought, okay, I'll just bump this guy up and I'll call him back. I figured he wasn't leaving a message, so who knows who's on the other side? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Half the time it's robocalls and stuff, but there was no message. But I went ahead and called the guy back, called that number back that was calling me the latest, and assuming that was the guy. I wasn't sure if it was who left the negative review, right? So I called that person back and I said, "Hi, this is Joe from Dent Evo, and I see you're trying to get a hold of me, and how can I help you? Blah blah blah." Well, we ended up setting up an appointment for later that week, and we had a good rapport, which is important. I think anyone you're talking to on the phone, try and have a good rapport, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the point is that when I went back to that Yelp page to look for that review, the review was gone. So I think it was that guy. I still don't know for sure to this day, but if it was him or not, but the review was gone. So
Yeah.
I have to assume that it was. But going back to it, it is a cruddy feeling when you get a 1-star review, and especially for me, like on my Yelp, it's like a ghost town. I don't get a lot of activity on my Yelp, and for some reason, dude, my reviews go straight whenever a customer. I don't even ask for reviews anymore, because from what I understand is that, like, if you send them a link to your Yelp page, and you're a customer after you've had a good transaction, interaction, whatever, and you send them that link saying, "Hey, if you have time to leave a review, and greatly appreciate it. It helps our business, blah blah blah," and but apparently the Yelp algorithms can link it back to basically detect that you
IP.
sent that link
Yeah.
to the prospect, to the person leaving the review, and assume that you solicited the review. So it
Because
goes straight to the unrecommended reviews.
that's right. Because what it does, and it's crazy, they can track the footprint of the breadcrumbs of how they got to that link. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So if it was just a link and then they got there, they know it's some sort of a review system, or you're giving them out directly of that. F friggin' Yelp, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, you folks, I have many reviews on Yelp, and it has brought me a lot of work. However, if you're smart, you are going to focus your reviews on Google, because the reason why is if you don't mind me going into this, Joe, real quick, is if you can focus more on Google, what happens when someone says, "Hey Google," or "Hey Siri, find me the best dent company near me," or "Find me the top reviewed dent company near me." It's not really looking for Yelp, it's looking for Google.
The best rated one I found is TP Dent Company on Rickenbacker Avenue in Riverside, which averages 5.0 stars. Want to try that one?
Riverside, 60 on Yelp, and
Always
340
listening.
on and Hellmans. You freaking, we just got interrupted right now, dude, in Riverside. So that's not even Joe's area or me, and it didn't even say, it doesn't even know. But anyways, as you can tell, right, it's going to
Good job,
up.
too, whoever that was.
Yeah,
They're
it's
doing
going to
it right.
pull up, right?
Yeah.
That main one, okay,
Yeah.
and Google is, they don't care. But how they verify it is if that person has a real Gmail account. So that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just saying, try to focus on your Google reviews. It's easier to get. There's no problems, and it's going to benefit you the more you can do that. And speaking of that, we are having a PDR retreat. I don't want me to plug in this real quick. It is December 11th and 12th. I'll put the link down below. If you want to know all the freaking details of details inside of what I just said, you're going to want to go for that. You're going to want to know how to systemize it through phones, videos, reviews. How do I get 600 plus reviews? How do I get hundreds of reviews on Google? It's not because I cheat or anything like that. I do a great job, but I have systems in place, and hopefully I'll share that with you and you'll be checking that out. That's just a little bit of it. So go check it out. Go to denttrainermedia.com/retreat. denttrainermedia.com/retreat. Type in that HTTPS or just follow the link in this podcast. But
So,
Joe,
is this a virtual retreat kind of thing, Mike?
Yeah. 2 days.
Okay.
2 days.
Cool.
You know me, Joe. I come and I bring it, man. I'm gonna change the way they do business that hour. I mean, they're gonna gonna know. I tell you what apps. Is it more helpful if I tell you what apps and then I show you step by step how I'm using that app, so you don't sit there going for hours or days trying to figure things out?
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff I'm going to be showing. And creating reels and TikToks, and you're still be able to be busy and do all that stuff. Systemize from creating content to answering your phone and getting good reviews as well. So yeah,
cool, man.
How we do it. And you can see I'm not the type of person, I don't shove this stuff down, content or what events down your throat. If you guys want to come, great. If you don't, no big deal either. I mean, I'm here for you. If you want to learn, but I'm not going to shove stuff down your throat. This is a podcast I want you guys to really learn from, anything that me and Joe say, and hopefully you're getting some good stuff out of this as we talk. So
yeah, for sure.
Joe, I want to show Brice Kelly's repair. Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of the tools that you are getting. So let's check this out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, here it is, dude. All right. Let's go big on this thing, man. Oh, shoot. What happened? What happened? Oh, the heck did that happen? Let's go back. There it is.
Wow, man.
Do you have a video on here?
Yeah, he did
Stick
video.
around because we're going to show you the steps we took using the paintless dent repair method to turn this fender from this to this. All right, folks, so we're going to jump right in here. We're going to apply what's called tension to the side of this fender here. You can see we glued some pretty heavy glue tabs that are going to allow the metal to basically have a direction to flow as we're starting to push the dents from the backside and kind of move it with this glue pulling method that you're seeing here. You can see the idea is to just kind of get things started, just to get the general shape back. And that's what you're seeing here with this leverage device here. I'm actually just kind of gluing tabs to the paint and kind of pulling the damage, as you can see. The glue is hot, but it's not hot enough to burn the paint. So it allows us to just essentially fuse the hot glue with a plastic tab to the paint and then just pull it off.
He's an aggressive,
which basically
I would call him an aggressive tech.
Well,
I mentioned that we're going to be actually pushing the metal from the backside and also
what he tackles. But
dual
remember,
process,
it's in high speed,
whatever it takes to get this
time lapse. So it looks more forceful than I think he's probably being.
I disagree, and in a friendly way though, because let's back this up, Joe. Okay. See these pokes right here? I mean, today this is just me. I mean, and again, we're not taking anything away from Brice. I'm not definitely not. Let me put us back in focus here, dude. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just stating that that's an aggressive. Most guys who do that can't get out of that. Don't you agree? I mean, if they do that,
It's
they kind of ruined it for themselves at that point. But
sure.
I know Brice could get that out, but I'm just saying at this point he reminds you a little bit of Jeff a little bit in this thing. But we'll keep going.
Jeff from Beach Cities.
Yeah,
it's because that's
so
that's what
it's kind of like a dual process. Whatever it takes to get the shape back, and then we can go in and kind of fine tune it.
And you guys, if you guys want to watch,
this is one of those
Brice
tools
use
that basically can allow us to go from the backside.
Central Florida Dent,
and it's got a wide face.
Central
and
Florida
what this
Dent
tool
Repair.
is it's called a
Or
killer
look up
whale.
Brice Kelly.
It's made by a company called
Dent
Stanliner,
Repair.
which produces
He's using
some
a
of the
killer
best
whale
tools
tail
in the
right
industry for this particular process. And you can see we're essentially just drawing the metal out from the backside. It's almost like dragging the metal from the backside, basically, with a little bit of pressure. And here's another Stanliner tool. This is actually what's called a rounded snake. It's got a rounded head, which kind of matches the direction that we're trying to go here down the center of that deep crease right there. If you watch the center, you can kind of see it come up. And that's the overall premise with these tools, is to keep it simple. Take these tools and kind of match the tooltip design.
All right, this is your new tool, right? I recently have this tool too. Stanliner sent this to me. I laughed a freaking crease out with this thing, dude.
Let me pause you for a second, because that is actually the large fender tool. Okay, and it looks very
similar. Okay,
to the rolling spoon. I bought the rolling spoon,
to the
which
actual
he shows
backside of the damage that you're working.
Okay, yeah, I got this one too.
I think the next one he uses is a rolling spoon.
Okay,
this is
a little similar. If you're not careful, you could actually mix them up. So,
right,
like I just did.
I think the only difference, if I'm not mistaken, is the bend. But there might be some slight differences in that spoon at the top. But like as far as between the rolling spoon and that tool right there, the fender tool, I think it really comes down to the bend and for how much leverage you'll need for for each situation.
It's actually a fender tool from Stanliner, and it's actually got two different designs. They're basically like big dollies on the end of rods. And this is the rolling spoon, and they have different functions. So basically you can kind of push like you normally would with a regular PDR rod. You could drag just like you're seeing there from the backside, and kind of roll as you're going to see here. So the reason I really like these a lot is because, it's just a huge wide face on the backside of bare steel, and just allows you to do some pretty amazing things, almost like ironing out. If you kind of look here, we've got that thing tucked inside there, and we're just kind of rolling it.
This guy is doing us all a huge service by showing this. He's so
I've never seen him
descriptive.
show this much detail with his repairs before. Like he
I
usually
actually,
just shows middle, like the before, middle, and then after.
yeah, man, it's really cool, and it confirmed because I purchased recently that rolling spoon as well as a couple other tools, but I was debating on whether I should get that or the killer whale tail, and I didn't even know about the fender tool yet. And then it ironically enough, while I had already made my decision and I received my Stanliner tools, my first shipment of tools. I'm gonna get more, but these were my first ones. And I received the rolling spoon on Friday, this past Friday. And that evening, I saw Brice's video, and he just confirmed my purchase. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
actually reached out to him and thanked him, for showing all that. It takes time, and I think, I think it should be
That's the thing about tools, though.
recognized.
That's the thing about tools, Joe. I mean, like people just don't. You know what? The number one reason why people say something's junk, it's not because it's junk. It's because they don't understand how to use the junk.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, excuse my French. It's not junk. Sandliner tools. I'm not referring to them as junk. I have a hell of a lot, and I'll be quite honest, man. I forget to use them, because I'm so conditioned into using traditional tools,
Mhm.
right? That I
Yep.
forget the
Yep.
capabilities of what these Stanliner tools can do, like what Brice is saying. Okay. Showing I don't use hardly
Yeah, that's
ever
true.
that rounded snake, but now he's showing it like in a way that I didn't think about using it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
um
Right.
so this is awesome. Let's keep going if you don't mind. So.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the idea. Move a lot of metal really fast and clean without having to butcher it up and stitch the metal. So this is the rolling spoon here. We're going to insert it inside the fender. I'm going to show you a little demonstration here. It's a pretty deep dent. So we're going right.
I like how he has this right here, like that. He's showing this little that right there, dude. That little clamp.
Yeah.
He's holding that fender, keeping it stable as he's
Right.
so it doesn't kink on him and
buckle.
go out on him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You use that method too, right?
I don't. I've used my cargo bar to, prop it against a wall, and you have to position the car and everything, but basically holding things into place. But I do have some of those clamps, and I've yet to use them. I'm going to now. And what I don't know is if he's got it clamped, like the other side of the clamp is right up against the fender, or if it's up against the other side of the tire. I think it might be up against the other side of the tire, or the strut or something, like
Oh,
an
I see what
A-arm.
you're saying. I see what you're saying. Kind
And
of like
so
it's almost reversed, like and
I
kind of
think
like
that might be what he's doing there, but I could be wrong.
yeah.
I'm
I think
because
I
I
think
can't
you
see
could
how
be right, because that's how you create that tension, right? Because it wouldn't
Yeah.
help if it's just clamping right against the fender liner itself, the fender itself, because it's kind of like what Shane did, right? He had a pogo stick, right? That
Yeah.
jack.
Yeah, he
going
had a
against
cargo bar
tension
on the
against the
Camaro,
trigger.
on
Yeah.
the blue
Yeah.
Camaro that was really, really bad dent. Yeah, and
This
so
is cool, Joe. You and I, this is the first time we've actually, obviously it's Brice's video, but this is the first time we need to do more of these videos, like a breakdown, kind of like cool. Hey, but we'll have to do some, you have to search some more of these videos out here, dude. And
yeah,
do it.
well, that was like a godsend to me, because I don't even go on Instagram that much, dude. But I went on there the other day, and that one showed up, and I was like, holy, yeah, I mean, the repair is that's a monster, and I mean, he always does, monster dents and really jagged, gnarly stuff. But this one kind of takes the cake, man. And then the fact that he showed so much of what his technique is. I thought that was really cool, man. I mean,
Well,
you and I both know how hard that is to document.
He's killing
what
3
you do.
birds with one stone, dude. One thing he's helping promote the Stanliner tool company, like showing like what the capabilities of these tools are and how they help them. 2,
Yeah.
he's educating the hell out of his customer. 3, he's helping the industry become more inspired and going, yeah, we can do that type of dent.
Exactly.
Instead of talking to ourselves and going, yeah, that thing's not doable, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and then you see
Right.
Brice do it and going, yeah, it's doable, but look, let me show you how I got to that point, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
it is a well, don't worry, fellas. We're gonna everybody and ladies, we're gonna play this, don't worry. But you have to look at dents like this, and this is how I even talk to students. I said, do not look at that dent like, oh my God, dude. You know, if you got to look at it in sections and understand where you're going to get the most positive reaction out of that panel, and then start putting it together. It's like a puzzle, you know.
Here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a pretty deep dent. So we're going right for the center. Do not overthink these tools. Just basically go in and just kind of roll and massage the metal out as you're seeing. That's all it is.
I think you're right.
And
he's got that
it just
pinned
gives
down
you really good
on
control,
the inside.
really clean.
Yeah, because
a really clean finish. So you don't have to go back in there and do a bunch of tapping down and manipulation from the outside. It just, you know, cuts down on the work. So here's a little trick here that I've been using. It's with the I-bar setup from Cam Auto. And it basically just allows us to kind of shock and realign panels, which is pretty awesome. Just gluing one of those tabs and using a slide hammer, just shocking the panel back into position.
Isn't that cool?
And this was a really challenging thing here because we had a bunch of stuff in the way. Like you can see with this, that big white thing inside there, that's actually the windshield washer reservoir. So what we did was we put a steel guard up in place to kind of protect that reservoir while we
smart,
the tool to the backside.
And you know, Mike, pause it real
leverage
quick.
Off it.
Yeah.
That is so brilliant. And I'll tell you why, because I have leveraged against those reservoirs before and created my own personal water feature out of a fender on a BMW before, you know, because I moved the by prying against that reservoir. Thank goodness I didn't break it, but it popped the hose off and suddenly water was leaking and out of the bottom, you know, and you know, and Brice, you know, it's brilliant because I would have thought to just take the whole thing out, you know, using my R&I skills, you know, and I'm really quick to take everything apart, you know, but that's brilliant right there. You know, it's so seeing how somebody else does things, and especially somebody so you know, highly skilled, it's pretty awesome, man. It's a gift to
I think that's probably one of the most helpful little tricks I've seen. You know, obviously this whole video is super intriguing. I like the part, and I have everything he's using. I have, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Even the little edgy tools.
He's using, and I'm like,
fender puller.
oh snap!
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. We
Yeah.
like did okay, all right.
Yeah,
I've actually, you know, Bentleys on the front and the fenders have a reservoir as well, and I broke a reservoir because it was like this situation right here. So
yeah, right.
Good thinking outside the box.
I was not about to take that whole entire reservoir out. It was a real pain in the butt, so I just left it in there, and I used a really heavy duty window guard from PDR Finesse. So we do all that pushing from the backside, but what about the outside? Like, how do we fix the outside of the steel? Well, this is called blending, and we're using a highly polished hammer to kind of go in there and just kind of manipulate the metal incrementally. And we achieve these results. And, you know, you can imagine that this customer here was extremely happy with the end result. This car meant a lot to him. This is actually one of my really good customers from over the years. Asked me if I could possibly do this for him because he did not want to have any paint work or body work on this car. And, you know, we achieved exactly what we set out to do. And we just wanted to kind of test the boundaries of the paintless dent repair method. Yeah, you know, a lot of people would ask me why I would take something like this on. And, you know, the real answer is it's a very fulfilling thing for me.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't take it on because of that edge right there, dude. Like the I don't care about the front part. It's that freaking edge by the door, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, there's a lot going on there, isn't there?
I get to, help somebody get their car back without having to diminish the value of the vehicle.
I mean, look at that, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything about the vehicle in the process of repairing it. So ultimately, it's the best solution for it. Hopefully, you learned a little something new about the paintless dent repair method, or if you're a technician, you learned a little something. I appreciate you guys stopping by to watch these videos. It means the world. See you on the next one.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Because consumers see that stuff, and the repair like that, of course, gets a lot of views, right? I mean, I would imagine, and because I mean, I get people calling me, right, and they'll say, "Hey, I saw this guy on YouTube, and he fixed a dent like mine, and there's a big old giant dent, and right away you're thinking, oh, great, now I got to live up to somebody else's, expectations, but well." A lot of times it's stuff they saw either you do, Mike, or Brice, or Ken Clark up in San Jose, the Man of Steel,
Yeah,
which is awesome because what you guys are doing and what Brice demonstrated in that video is he showed how difficult this is. It didn't just show a before and an after. He showed every viewer, if no viewer can watch that and see that, oh, this guy just put a machine on it, or he just pressed a button and it's gone. It's labor intensive, to say the least. And that, to me, it makes all of our jobs easier when people with dents on their car call us and they see those videos and they think, oh, well, this is not going to be an easy thing, but they can get it out and they can save our factory paint. He says that in there too. He kept the original factory paint. That's just pure value right there. And I think, I think it should be addressed, and that's why we're showing it. But also, ironically enough, it confirmed that I made the right choice with my rolling spoon.
Yeah, you did. I mean,
which I've used, and it's awesome.
Well, let's for the viewers, this is what I was talking about, right? There is a lot of things going on in this repair. I mean, I'm talking, when I say sections, I'm talking battles, man. This whole thing this thing's a war, man. You got battle zones. I mean, you got this crease right here. Can you see me circling that?
Yes, I can see the cursor.
Okay? Yeah. I mean, that's one. That's two.
Right.
That's three, right here.
Exactly.
This whole edge is another four, right?
Yeah, and did you see from the side how deep that edge got pushed in? I mean, it's crazy.
6, 7, 8, and then over here we can't see right now, but I mean, shit, man. If you don't you're talking 3 hours, 4 hours, we're talking hours and hours, maybe a couple days for a guy who's not, who's a decent tech, but not a fast tech,
Well, and that brings us around full circle to what you first mentioned when you saw Brice pushing, and there was some texture there in the beginning of the repair, and you had mentioned, Mike, that he's pretty aggressive, and we witnessed that with Jeff from Beach City's PDR when on that white Tesla Y Fender, that we all saw Jeff in action with his his standard aggressive pushing style, whereas you and I, we like you've said, we're slow pushers. We do, we start clean and we try to end clean, but this is something that I've often encountered in my career, especially with really challenging repairs, is slower is faster, and in the, if you're keeping it clean. But I have also been too slow, because what happens when you're too slow in a repair, if you're not being systematic and moving at a quick pace, especially with a long repair like that, especially if you only give yourself one day to do it. And for us mobile guys who got, we don't want to have to go back to the job site a second time to finish. And I've done it, but what happens when I'm too slow, I will get fatigue will set in, and you start getting tired, and you start making mistakes, and suddenly you're creating more work for yourself. So there's a fine line there between being too slow and too aggressive, and I think just finding that balance within ourselves is key.
That was a damn good repair, man. I'm glad you showed this and told me about this. I think we need to do more videos, breakdown videos like this. This was great, Joe. And this went hand in hand about, should you start fast? Should you finish slow? I think it's still up to you. I think it's about style. I think the dent kind of dictates, your pace, shall I say? Brice is a master at doing this mobile.
Yeah.
You guys get it. That's the double thing on top of this, right? I've been spoiled. I've been in a shop almost 5 years now. I would not even think about wanting to do this mobile anymore, dude. There's no way in hell, dude. Like, I'm not going to spend 8 hours in someone's garage. No, not going to do it, dude. And I don't get that. I'm just not doing it no more. And I know a lot of techs agree with me now that have a shop. They wouldn't touch this, dude, at mobile. Okay.
Right.
I know I used to do it for 22 years mobile or longer, but you still do this crap mobile, dude. All right.
I do. Yeah.
Would you take on this dent, dude, like this if you today? I probably wouldn't because of that edge, dude, on the left, dude.
Listen, I'm mobile and I love being mobile. Eventually I will have a shop and for, because I'm not getting any younger, and I would like to have a lift and all the bells and whistles. But for now, I'm mobile, and I love being mobile because I like being out in the world. I like being in other people's environments. I just like that. I like scouting out a job. Sometimes I will make 2 trips, and the first trip is like, for a big, relatively difficult repair for me, I'll go and scout it out and say, okay, where will I position the car? Where am I going to fix this at? And where am I going to start and all that? And I like that. And then you start that repair that day of, at an early, part of the day. And I like to video my stuff. So, that takes longer. So, it can be fun, and it's like a little adventure, but that being said, that repair right there, man, I mean, now that I've seen Brice do it, and I told him this, is like, I am inspired, like, to try that. It gives me hope. I see hope there. I don't just see a difficult dent. I see hope. I see something beautiful. I see something that I can serve my humans with, because to me, that kind of damage, I don't want to say the R word. What I mean is, like, I think it's economy proof. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that. Right. That is an uncontested market, Mike, because 99.9% of PDR technicians, I don't care if they're in a shop or not, they're not fixing stuff like that.
No,
there's a handful of people.
They're not. Look.
I would be willing to try it, because I'm not going to say I could fix that, but I would be willing to try it.
Like I said at the beginning of this video, there's no excuse for you to say, "Nah, I can't do that." It's
right. Exactly.
It's not because it can't be done. Now it's because you don't want to do it. Okay. Or you don't, and there's nothing wrong with you saying no to that. I would not blame you by any chance, but don't say it can't be done. Don't. Now you're lying to yourself, and you're really saying that. But saying I don't want to do it and it can't be done are two different things.
Yes.
So here's what pisses me off too, as well, folks. And I'm sorry, Brice, if you've watched this, I have not given you enough credit. Joe and I haven't promoted you enough. But mofos, guys, come on. He's only got 3,836 followers as of this video. I hope he should be at 100,000, dude. Like,
I have a feeling Brice doesn't give a crap about that.
I know he doesn't.
And that's why we like. That's why we like him. Yeah, I'm guessing. I could be wrong.
He's not, but I'm surprised because I don't, and I got to start following. I don't know why, but
we'll see, man.
Okay.
Listen, here's the thing. Here's the other side.
Hey, Brice. Here you go, dude.
Boom. Following.
Booyah.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to tell them that, hey, look out for the podcast on Pod 100. But
Yeah.
follow him, you guys. Brice Kelly Dent Repair on Instagram. I think he's obviously on YouTube. You can go check out his profile here. And I feel bad that we didn't even bring him on and talk about this. Now
This was a last minute thing. I was pretty excited about seeing that video, and so that's when I mentioned it to you just a little bit ago before our podcast. But the thing about Brice is that as great of a highly skilled technician as he is, those skills, the technical skills, he is as good or possibly even better at communicating the value of what he does for the consumers. And he shows that in the video. He shows it, and he says it in his words. He verbalizes it, and that is all the difference. I think right there is when to the detractors who say that, oh, why fix something like that? Why, it's even if it whatever, it's not worth fixing, or nobody's going to pay that much. Bullshit. I'm sorry. There are people who will pay the right price for that makes it worth your while. And you have to decide what it's worth to you. And there are guides for that. Our friend Paul Gordon created that beautiful price guide that imagine what that fender is going to cost. And even if he doesn't go full price guide retail on it, if he settled at a certain price, even half of what I know the price guide would put it at, it would be still worth it. Shoot, even a quarter of that. I know that for the and it's not for everyone. Okay,
No,
I'm not saying that everyone should be doing those repairs.
Yeah,
but
take the emotion out of doing a repair. Like, oh, I want the customer. F that, man. Look, think about the suffering you're gonna do, and the piss. Like when in the middle of that type of repair, what kind of challenges are you going to run into? And that's where you decide, all right, now I got to put in extra money for the challenges I don't see. This is why I'm creating this. This is why Mobile Tech RX is it's rewarding you. It's like, hey, bud, chances are you're going to run into some challenges. That's why we're putting it up this high. Trust us. And you're like, nah, man, let me just help the customer out. Let me get a little emotional about it because maybe the customer want it, and the customer goes for it. And then in the middle of the repair, you screwed yourself because now you know why you should have left it alone. So,
true. Well, and in that end number that we all come up with, I mean, it has to be a number that it doesn't have to be exactly what, whatever, technician said it should be, or whatever the price guide said it should be. It has to be a number that you feel compensated for, for your efforts. And that's the number you have to decide on what it is, and then agreed with the customer. And which also, that's another facet of the whole situation, which is, why, Brice is so artful about this. Is I feel like he also knows who his customer is. I mean, he mentioned on that video that customer, it was a repeat customer of his that believed in him. He already believed in him, and so he was helping his customer out, and the customer was helping him out by allowing him. Brice mentions in that video that he wanted to push the limits of PDR, and that's what puts him on another level altogether. Is that he wants to? That's fun for him, I think. He enjoys pushing the limits and seeing how far out he could go, which is, I think, if you want to get to that high level, you have to have that mentality. And it might be crazy to some people, but it's how you see how far you can go. And
I agree.
It's great.
I totally agree, Joe. I want to say thank you for bringing this link on, and Brice, you're a hell of a tech. We know each other personally. You know Brice. I speak to Brice here and there. I talked to him about his training and whatnot. About gave him some little. We talked about other things behind the closed doors, and follow him, guys. He's a better person even in person. So when you get a chance to meet him, stand up guy. Reminds me of you, dude. You and Joe, you and Brice are kind of the same demeanor. be honest with you.
I just copy everything he does.
Yeah.
I figure if I can do like a fraction of what he's doing,
You guys
I'll
are
be
very much
all
alike,
right.
man. You even hear like how you guys explain things and whatnot. So,
Well, thank you.
so thanks a lot for coming on the 100th podcast, dude. All right.
Sure, man. My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to follow Joe on Dent Evo, okay? dentevo.com. And once again, if you guys want to follow Brice Kelly Dent Repair, you'll be fully entertained on that. And if you guys get a chance, follow me Dent Time. You can also check out denttrainer.com if you're looking for professional tutorials, especially if you're a newbie and you really want to get into it and stop being lost. Go check it out. All right. We'll see you guys on the next podcast. Joe, thanks a lot, man. We'll see you on. I'll be seeing you on the next one too. So,
Thank you.
All right.